Yeah.
Hey man, come join us.
What?
Absolutely.
What do you guys? What is that?
So we're a church on campus.
Oh no, I don't really want to.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, we're a church on campus,
Okay.
and we have our Easter service this Sunday.
Have your what?
Easter service
Okay.
this Sunday. We're just
All right.
trying to invite people out because that's like one of our bigger events.
It's like you're inviting anybody out.
Yeah. Anybody who's willing to come.
Why would someone want to come to your church service?
Come to our church service?
Yeah.
We're the only on-campus church.
Okay.
We make it readily accessible. We're partnered with Publix, so any food that they have that they aren't going to
So you have
sell-
free food.
Yeah, free food.
That's
too.
really the only reason most people want to go.
Yeah. Come for the food, stay for the service.
What's the service? Is it some sort of Christian thing?
Correct. Yes. So we're a non-denominational Christian service, and we just talk about the teachings in the Bible, what Jesus came to do, what Jesus came and did for us.
Do you really think Jesus existed?
Do you?
I have seen no reason to.
And why is that?
Because there's really no evidence to suggest that he actually existed. That's why I seriously doubt it. Due to lack of evidence.
So I was where you are.
Well, everyone would spend where I am because everyone's born an atheist. So it means nothing to tell someone that you used to be without belief, right? Because everyone started off without belief. So go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, you good? No. Yeah, it is definitely a bank on faith.
Faith.
And the belief in something that you cannot see or feel.
Okay, but faith is not really a way of knowing anything, is it?
No, that's why you gotta read the Bible.
Okay, but even if you read the Bible, you're still using faith. So there's really no way to know that what you believe in is true, right?
Okay, yeah. But let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
If I believe and somebody else doesn't, and we both die in the end.
Okay.
If I'm right, that person didn't believe. And so I'm going to heaven. They never gave me
Okay.
something.
That's assuming that the God that you believe in is actually the one that exists. What if a God exists that sends you to hell because you didn't use the brain it gave you? And it sends the atheist to heaven for using the brain and logic that it gave. Have you considered that? Because you can't bank it on just assuming that your God is real. Like, well, you have nothing to lose. Well, you don't know if you have nothing to lose because not only could there be nothing when we die, which is what the evidence suggests, nothing is there when we die. Because it makes no sense to think that we can live after we die, which is a contradiction. But in any case...
Well, that's what Jesus did. So everybody's been sentenced to hell for the sins we've committed here on earth.
Well, why should future people be sent to hell for something that other people did? Like, why should I be punished for what someone else did? Does that make sense?
But you're not. That's the thing. You're not punished for what I did 10 years ago.
Right.
You're punished for sins that...
So I don't need to believe in a God then, since I won't be punished, right?
No, you're punished for your own sins.
What? Okay. My own sins. Okay. What sins are those?
It could be anything from wishing hate on somebody to...
What if there's a good reason to hate somebody?
Stay wrong.
Okay.
In the eyes of my God, in the eyes of the Lord, and what it says in the Bible.
Why should I believe in a God that your God exists?
Why should you?
Yeah.
That's some good questions.
Tough one, huh?
You got some good questions.
Tell me, is truth important to you? It's a nice word, so you're probably going to say yes. But do you really know what the word truth means?
No. Go ahead.
Truth is the degree to which a statement corresponds to reality. Okay. In order to know the truth of a statement, like if someone says there is a God, that's a statement of what they expect to be truth, right? So, what's the degree to which that statement corresponds with reality? Well, how are we going to determine that? The only way to determine that is really to have some sort of evidence, because people can assert anything and say that such and such is real. But all they should be doing is acting as a messenger to let people know that it's true. They're getting news out, but that's all they're doing. But once they get someone's attention, that person should go, okay, so you're saying this true? Okay, show me in the world, because they can't just be saying something that's true without being able to reference what that thing is, because they're saying it's true because they must have information that it's true, and they're letting people know. So that person comes to the person and says, okay, what evidence do you have to show this is true? Because I didn't know this, and I want to know this. So that person now needs to provide good scientific evidence to show that what they say is true. And if they can't do that, then their claim is dismissed.
Correct. But all the evidence that you're asking for is given to us in the Bible.
Okay, no, but you just said it was faith. So you just said, okay, now you're saying the evidence
Faith
in
in
the
a
Bible.
God. But in Jesus, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, so the Lord, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, are three entities that are basically the God, our God. And so in the Bible, it gives different examples of what Jesus came and did. He died on the cross. He rose from the dead 3 days later, which is Easter, and defeated death. And that's where...
Why should we believe that actually happened?
Because there is evidence.
What evidence is there?
Noah's boat.
Noah's boat?
Okay. The ark.
What about it?
So there's actually what they believe imprints of the ark on top of, I think it's Mount Ararat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's been invalidated.
How so?
I've heard quite a few stories of Noah Ark being found, and it doesn't date back far enough.
Okay. And then you have
But how would that even prove that, even if you did find an old boat with any kind of imprint, how does that show that Jesus actually existed and did the things he did? I mean, you can't just assume that, okay, well, the Bible has some real people and places in it. Therefore, if you can find that to be true, why should we believe the rest of what's in the Bible is true? Because if you know, I mean, isn't that common sense thinking right there? I mean, the way stories were written back then, they mixed fact with fiction. And that's how we create mythology, right? So is it really sound to believe in something even though we don't really have any evidence of it? And is referring to some old boat we might have found and something really good evidence that Jesus actually did anything in life? I mean, there's not even any contemporary writers who wrote about Jesus during his supposed lifetime. So why believe in it? Unless if you're going to refer to faith, then don't refer to the Bible. Okay. Because if you're going to refer to the Bible, then that tells me that you must be referring to something that's being said in there that we can validate outside of it that would be evidence to support what you're saying. But if you're going to go back to faith, then just say faith. And if you're just going to say faith, then really you're just saying that you can't substantiate the claims you're making, and no reasonable person should believe in it, right? Because if two people believe in something that's contradictory, and they both use faith as their basis, they both can't be right.
Okay.
So is faith really a way of determining the truth?
You're really good at this. You've done this a lot, haven't you?
I've debated a couple times now and then, but it's not really whether I'm good at it that should really impress anyone. I don't care to be someone good at anything like that. It's just, I mean, I guess it's good, but what I want people to recognize is, how do we determine truth? How do we determine what's real? Shouldn't we believe in, nothing should be exempt from the scientific method. If someone says something that's true, I don't care what it is.
Yes, but there have been several scientists who have tried to do the exact same thing you're doing to me right now, and have written books about it, and then have come out and said, I can't disprove this.
Okay.
By any logical means of the scientific method, I cannot prove this.
Cannot prove what?
That God does or does not exist.
Okay, if we can't prove that does or does not exist, shouldn't the default position be adopted where one's without belief? Because shouldn't we not believe in anything unless it shows to exist? It's a choice, but isn't it a more reasonable choice to be without belief until we know it's true, until we have evidence?
So that's
it is
actually
what?
It is.
It
is
is
more
what?
reasonable.
Okay.
To pick the easy route.
Oh, is easy? Okay,
there you go.
I wouldn't call it the easy route.
But that's what the Bible calls it.
Okay.
It's called
I'm
the
sure the
narrow
Bible,
path and the wide.
the Bible also calls unbelievers.
Jesus claimed to be God and then backed it up.
How do we know Jesus existed?
Well, I think pretty much most historians would say Jesus existed.
Okay, I don't care about those historians. I'm like, how do we know Jesus existed?
Well, there's biographies of him. There's history
Biography?
books of him. Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew, Mark,
Watch
Luke,
it, there's
John.
ants on there.
We don't know who wrote those books though.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
Okay.
We do know who wrote them. Yeah.
No, we don't know who wrote those. Those are just names we gave to the parts of the Bible.
Sure, brother. This doesn't sound like a healthy
And they were written
conversation.
well after Jesus existed anyway. So
When you say well after, what do you mean?
end of the first, maybe
Yeah.
in the second century.
50. One of them was written in 50s,
Yeah.
and Jesus died in 30s.
Yeah. So nothing was
That's a
written.
long time later.
Right.
20 years.
Yeah, and nothing's written during
Eyewitness
his supposed
accounts.
lifetime.
I mean, they're all eyewitness accounts. They're
Whoa,
all people
whoa,
who
what
saw
makes you,
Jesus.
what makes you think they're eyewitness accounts?
Well, they claim it. They say it.
Just because they say they're eyewitness accounts, therefore they are? You just believe
Well,
they
it was
are?
backed up. It was seen. It was over the years.
How do you know it was
Brother,
seen?
this conversation is not going to be helpful, I can see. Because I don't...
Oh, it is helpful because I'm
Well-
asking you to, I'm drilling you down
No.
to get you to show why you think Jesus existed. You said there's writings, but these writings are well after he existed. I'm asking why should we believe in these writings which are well after he existed,
What's your
and
name?
then you just want to give up.
What's your name?
Ted.
Ted, I'm Justin.
Right.
Ted, do you really want to know, or are you just trying to tell me everything's wrong?
Well, it doesn't
that
matter.
helps me. If you really want to know, then
It-
let's talk about it.
That's what we're doing is we're talking about
No, it
isn't
doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like we're talking about it?
It
What are we
sounds like
talking
you're
about
just
then?
shooting at everything I say.
Isn't that what someone should do to make sure that you know what you're talking about?
Well, I don't...
Shouldn't you be able to substantiate? What is it, John 3:16 or something? You should be able to respond to questions asked.
It's not John 3:16, but yeah.
Something like that. Some
Sure.
close.
John
something-
3:16 is God so loved the world.
or
He gave his only
15. Is
Son.
it 15?
Whoever believes in him shall not perish.
It's one of those.
Well, it's not, but go on.
It's John something. Anyway, so shouldn't you be able to substantiate what you say?
Sure.
Okay, so when I drill you down and try to say, well, why should we believe in it? And you refer to writings after the fact, and I say, why should we believe in writings after the fact? And then now you're like, well, now I have to really work, and now you're just ready to give up and be like, no, what? I don't have the conversation anymore.
Ted, I don't mind having the conversation with you, but I feel like you don't really want to have you're not seeking truth. Or seeking...
Well, I love the truth. Yeah,
Okay.
as I explained to him, the word truth means a degree to which a statement corresponds with reality.
I'd like to carry
Okay,
on with you.
okay,
brother.
You
sure.
can jump in, brother.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
thanks.
Ted, it was good
I
talking
care.
to you.
So you're
Well,
done.
I am done because I don't feel like. Well, one, I don't know how much time. I'm getting ready to meet someone at noon.
Okay.
It's new.
And it doesn't. I don't feel like. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be profitable in my mind. So
Well,
I could be wrong.
You made assertions.
Yeah.
You need to back up those assertions.
And I
it's
tried to.
profitable in a way to where you're being questioned for what you assert that you know. You want to give up before you get to the pudding and say and show me exactly why any reasonable person should believe in it, because you just feel like, oh well, I don't care, I don't know about your intentions. My intentions should not matter. What matter are the questions I'm asking. Are they reasonable? Am I
Right.
getting somewhere in a logical manner?
I don't know if they're reasonable. That's why I guess.
Well, then, I
That's
implore
what-
you
yeah.
to Google these
Oh
things.
yeah, I am. I
because
just when you say
they
like,
are
hey, how do we
reasonable.
know Jesus lived?
Right.
I think almost 99% of the historians would say Jesus lived.
Okay. You can't.
So when you
can't
hold on.
assert you can't validate the existence of someone based on authority.
when you throw out like, oh, I don't even know if he lived.
Right.
Which I don't know if you said that. I think you said. How can
Yeah,
you
I
know
don't.
that?
I don't know if he lived. Right.
It's pretty confident across the board. There's very few people who say
Okay.
this man never existed.
Popular vote does not buy validity.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But
So
that's
then I
fine.
don't care about.
Right, and that's
All
why I
these
feel
historians.
like I'm not sure it's going to go very far for me.
Okay. If that's all you have is
It's not
refer to
worth it.
historians.
How would you know
then.
your great-great-grandfather lived?
Good talking to you, Ted.
Ted,
See you,
George
bud.
Feliciano. I took my lunch out.
Hey, how you
How
doing?
would you know your great-great-grandfather lived?
Okay. Do you have a point or what?
I don't know. You were talking about. So now you don't even want to address my question. You're asking him to validate how this Jesus Christ
Right.
existed.
Right. Because
How do you know your great-grandfather existed?
Because I'm here.
So you're validating his existence based on your existence
Well,
here?
I know how children are formed. I know that I
But
must have.
how would you know that you came from him? I'm
Okay,
just giving
you're right.
you one quick example.
I could have come from a test tube.
I'm giving you one quick example.
It's a possibility I could have come from a test tube at some point, and I did not have a great-great-grandfather. It's possible.
But you don't know him.
So why do I have to know him?
How do you know that he was alive?
Do you not know how babies are made? People
No,
have
but how
sex.
do you
know that?
that particular person was your great-grandfather?
We're not talking about a particular person. You're generalizing.
He said, I heard you say, how did you validate that this Jesus Christ existed?
Exactly, right?
So I'm asking you a simple question.
Go ahead.
You can't answer it. How do you know your great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather existed?
Because I know how babies are formed.
That's a biological function.
Right.
How do you
Which
know?
answers your question.
Do you have documentation? Did you hear it orally? Did your father tell you who your grandfather was? Did he tell you who your great-grandfather was?
Why do I have to know that I came from other humans?
Because you said, no, keep focused, Ted. You wanted to know how he was validating his assertion with your own words.
That's correct.
Now I ask you the same question about
No, you didn't ask me the same question.
A different being.
You're making an analogy.
A different being.
That serves no purpose at all.
Then how can you establish that his truth is not, but yours is?
He's made an assertion that someone particularly exists. Most likely a prophet, religious in his Christian religion. Now, there was absolutely nothing to support that Jesus actually existed.
Except that the scribes and official writers of that period gave testimony to someone by that name.
Well, after he supposedly existed.
But did they do that?
People wrote stories. It doesn't mean that they're true.
For instance, Josephus, with any of his other writings, not be
Josephus wasn't alive during Jesus' supposed existence.
You're not alive to your grandfather's existence, but you gave me testimony that you know
but
you're
we know
part of
people
him.
we know people procreate, which is why we're here today. So obviously, I had a great grandfather or great great grandfather, and that's how we can logically break it down.
How do you know he existed? Because you're here?
Wow.
Because you're here.
You don't seem to understand.
No, you're always looking for that argument, Ted.
For what argument?
You always argue. I've never seen you at peace with anybody. I've always seen you try to up them one philosophically or logically or reasonably.
And you think you're getting somewhere with this little great-grandfather analogy.
No, but I guess what?
What's
I
that?
got your goat, Ted. I got
What goat is that? Tell me.
The one that you became uncomfortable with. The one that you said, do you have an assertion? Do you have a point?
So you're making ramblings here about a false analogy that doesn't pertain to the context in which I was speaking with them about, and you think you're getting somewhere.
You said the word procreate. So if you were able to go back through the genealogical order, would you not get to Jesus? Would there not be some biological proof that somebody is his offspring? Your same argument.
Why would you assume he existed?
Your same argument.
Now you're assuming he existed.
Now
you're assuming he existed. Why?
Oh my
You're assuming
word.
he existed by saying, "Oh, we'll get to Jesus eventually." That's assuming he actually existed.
Oh my word.
That's much different than asking me why I may have a great-great-grandfather.
I wanted you to give me documentation because that was the assertion that you tried to unvalidate him. How?
Okay.
These people were alive after him. How would they know? So the written witness testimonies of individuals of that person's life, they would be no different from somebody who was in your great-grandfather's period giving witness to him. But that person wouldn't be valid, but you would because you're here. That's just biology, Ted. You're not giving
So
any
you're trying to say Jesus existed because why?
Because of valid testimony.
What testimony is that?
I just asked you, what testimony about your grandfather would
No. Ask about my grandfather. What testimony of Jesus do we have to show that he existed?
The resurrection.
What resurrection?
The crucifixion.
What crucifixion?
Oh, so they didn't crucify people in that period either, Ted?
Sure, but how do we know Jesus was crucified?
Because it's documented by the government, the Roman Empire.
Oh, much later, after Jesus supposedly existed.
After he supposedly existed.
Yes.
Here's the beauty of it, Ted.
Okay,
I've been waiting to interact with you, man.
Sure.
You'll never believe unless you're meant to receive. You'll never get it, brother.
Get what?
The sovereign will of God. You'll never understand it.
Can you even tell me what a God is?
Yeah.
What is a God?
See, this is your favorite question to ask people. The God is
tell
whom
me,
I choose
tell me
to
what a God
believe
is.
in and you choose
tell
to believe
me what
not.
it is. Tell
I
me
just
what
did.
it is. What is it?
I just did.
What is it?
Whom I choose to believe in and you choose to believe not.
That doesn't tell me what the God is.
But you asked me.
Okay, well then that's the best answer you have.
I choose to
then
believe
that's not
in.
good enough.
For you.
For any reasonable person.
Justin, do you choose to believe in the God that I believe in? You do. Ted chooses not to. That's all I got. Take care, bro. You choose not to.
Failed miserably, son.
At what? An interaction with someone who doesn't want anything to do with God? I just want to.
I even asked you what a God is. You couldn't even tell me.
I did
You
tell
couldn't
you.
even tell me.
I did tell you.
What is it?
I did.
It's something
tell
I
you.
believe in. What is
And
that
you don't.
bullshit? It's something I believe in.
Okay, so why
How
do
does
you
that tell
believe
me
that he
what the
didn't
hell-
exist?
How does that tell me what it is?
Why do you believe he didn't exist?
I'm without belief. Okay.
Where did you come from?
Good questions. Good questions. Those are good questions. You know, you have to look back at our evolution to see where we came from.
But they've already said that that didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
That we didn't evolve from monkeys.
No, we are primates. We didn't come from monkeys. We pretty much are.
But from where?
Well, we're the closest relatives are the chimpanzee.
But they've found in Africa human remains and chimpanzee remains, and they're two different things
Okay.
in the same era.
Well,
before
there's something that you need to look at as far as the DNA is concerned.
Okay.
Chimps have 48 chromosomes, right? We have 46. And you know what they found? They found chromosomes fused together, two of them fused together, which is why we have 46 and they have 48, which shows good evidence that we have common ancestor with chimpanzee.
Okay. But where did the chimps come from?
Other apes, you have to go back in time. You're probably your best bet if you want to get up on the biology part of it is to read Richard Dawkins.
But go all the way back. Where did the first animal come
Well,
from?
see, that's a good question. We've been able to replicate RNA, but not DNA yet. So
Have you heard of spontaneous creation? Do you believe in that?
I don't even know what that is.
Spontaneous creation is where there is a theory that a puddle of like bacteria and different things were in a puddle and it was struck by lightning and then bam, there was life.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But
So,
even though we don't know where everything came from, we're just going to stop at we don't know, and that's where we should be until we do know. We can't inject God into the equation just because we don't know something.
but nobody was injecting.
Okay, well, I just usually usually that's where people go when that line of questioning where you just gave.
Okay. So, but then at the same, so how could you say that we are like don't have any evidence when when you can't back up the evidence for where everything came from?
Then therein lies your problem. You think that we need to have the answer.
No.
Okay. So then saying I don't know is okay, right? Okay. Then that question is no longer valid that you just asked me, because I cannot know where things go until I have evidence. And if someone like you comes along and says I know, now I want to know. Okay, well, if you know and I don't know, then what's your evidence so I can know too?
Okay.
But if you don't give any good evidence, then I'm back to I don't know. I don't have to know where things come from. It's not important. It's not mandatory that I have to have, the answer. I don't.
Okay. I'm just curious, like, okay, so just to get you to know you more. First,
Sure.
So, are you a graduate of UF or where are you from?
Now,
No, this
I
is
went to school here before you.
completely beside the religious
Right,
talk.
yeah.
I just want to get to know
Okay.
you.
Well, you want to get to know me, you can just go to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube.
Okay.
I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah.
But no, I was just wondering, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to you. I feel bad that I don't have the information for you.
Well, don't you think that you should in order to actually retain the beliefs that you have?
And 90% of the time, I'd agree with you. You know.
Except something inside your head is not allowing you to agree with me because I'm going on a limb here. I'm going to say it's because you hold on to your beliefs with an emotion instead of logic. If you use logic and you divorce the emotion from your beliefs, I bet you wouldn't believe in a God.
Just like you, I promise. I am in an argument right now because of the same thing. Because I lack the emotion to get emotional with somebody, and I think too logically. That's the argument.
Logical. Well, look at Matt Dillahunty. You know who he is, right?
No.
Go to the Atheist Experience on YouTube. Look for Matt Dillahunty. Very well-known guy. He hosts the Atheist Experience. very good at what he does. He was a preacher for like 15 years, 20 years, something like that. And he was a big-time preacher, big-time thing. And he used to, do this. And he used to, but he started questioning. And now he's an atheist. And now he's a mastermind. He knows the Bible front and back, and he's even better with his logical fallacies and everything than I am. I'm a lightweight compared to him. But a lot of people, everyone is born an atheist. Everyone is without belief when they're born. They're pushed into it by their atmosphere, by their parents, by how they grew up. And sometimes people follow the ministry and believe and stuff like that, but then they start to question it. And a lot of people who believed a lot and went all the way to talking to people like you are, they lose their belief because they actually learn to use logic and question it. There's nothing wrong with thinking and coming to a new conclusion.
No. That's how everybody learns.
Yeah.
So, here's my question.
Sure.
If I am able to come up with evidence,
you would be fucking famous around the whole world.
but
that.
but if I so if I can give you evidence or persuade you to believe like I do, or even give you something that you can't dispute, or have something that I think you wouldn't be able to dispute, how would I get in touch with you? Just comment on your YouTube
TedTheAtheist at gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a cool conversation. Really good.
Yeah, it sounds like you're paying attention, and I've got to say that's more than you see in a lot of people who are into religion.
I'm willing to listen because I know that I was.
And that's going to be the downfall of your belief, your ability to listen and use logic. That's what's going to get rid of your belief, whether you feel comfortable thinking about that right now or not.
No, I don't. It doesn't faze me. I get it. I get that you believe that just by me listening, I'm going to get rid of it.
No, you might not ever. But I'm just saying, logic and reason is the pathway to truth. Not some religious text a bunch of men wrote and edited over time. It's been rewritten and edited and books taken out and put it in. But people come here like, oh, look, it says this, it says that. It's like, so what?
But if you go back to all the original books, you can still find them.
Yeah, they're just copies of translations of copies of translations of edited versions. But even if we have these, why should we actually believe that what's written in them is accurate as far as reflecting something we know nothing about? I mean, all the mysteries in life that we've investigated have come out to not be magic. Mm-hmm. So what does that tell you?
There's no magic sorcery.
Thunder and lightning, not magic. Not Thor didn't do it.
No.
So everything we come across.
It would be cool if Thor could do it.
I'm just saying that just because this whole where everything came from is the last thing that they have. It's no longer thunder, rain, thunder and lightning and all the other things. Now it's only where we came from. That's the biggest shtick they have now for religion. And what happens when we finally figure that out? Well, what if we learn more about quantum mechanics and we figure out how everything came to be? And then what? Then where's God going to be pushed to? Because he keeps getting pushed back more and more. Why bother with something that's not really explaining anything? How did God do it? Even if we don't know what a God is or anything,
okay,
how did he do it? If we don't know these answers, if we have no way of investigating them, how is it an answer?
Okay, so this is like a kind of tangent, but I was thinking about this when I walked away for a couple seconds. Do you know what entropy is?
Yes.
So isn't it where everything is in nature normally goes towards chaos, right?
Yes.
So then why do we have something like this? Like why is this?
Because order can come from chaos. And complexity can come naturally. Complexity does not mean
But how do you
design.
know that?
Because we see no reason for design. So
There's
since
no
we
reason for design.
since we see no reason to assume that things been designed, we must be without belief in a designer unless we have reason to believe in a designer. What we see.
Because if not, we're both one dirt.
Okay, you say you want to be right, otherwise we're both one dirt. Well, it won't matter because we'll be dead, right? And we won't be able to experience anything. Because as far as we know.
If I'm correct,
Yes.
I get to spend eternal life with a God that I believed in.
Okay. If I'm correct, I could have more ways of spending eternity in heaven than you.
How so?
Like I said earlier, what if a God exists that sends me to heaven for using the brain that it gave me? What if a God exists that arbitrarily sends, you know, what if no God exists? I don't know. And I go to heaven just in case. Just I don't know. Just arbitrarily. What if a God exists that arbitrarily sends people to heaven or hell? What if God exists that sends you to hell? What if a God exists that sends us both to hell because we believed in the wrong God? What if all the thousands of God out there, we believe in the wrong one and it sends us both to hell?
We're both wrong.
But you're ready to put your chips into one God. You see, you're an atheist too. For all those gods out there, you're an atheist for them. I just believe in one less God than you do.
So then why would any of the thousands of gods that you don't believe in praise you for not believing in any God and having no faith?
Because it according to the story we just made up, it made the brain that I have with the ability to think logically, use logic and reason. And when you use logic and reason correctly, when someone asserts something to be true, you need to have evidence. If you don't, you shouldn't believe in it. That's a logical thing to do. And I'm exercising that, which was part of my brain, which is from this God that created it. Therefore, it's happy that I did that. You used what I gave you. I'm so happy. You didn't even know I existed. You didn't have to, because you just used the brain I gave you. Go to heaven. You motherfucker. What is this bullshit Christian Jesus shit? Go to hell. It's possible. How is it any more crazy than what you believe in?
No, I know.
All right.
I get what you're saying.
All right. Do you read anything from Christopher Hitchens or Sam Harris or Richard Dawkins or anything like
To be
that?
totally honest with you, right now, I'm just trying to get to the end of the semester. But I can look
Do
at
something, at least.
Yeah.
If you're not going to take the time to read, go on YouTube, watch Atheist Experience shows. They have full shows, they have segments where they take callers like you that call up with questions, and people like Matt and other hosts answer them. They don't get all fuck you like you're a fucking idiot like I did to that guy because I lost my patience with his stupidity. Sorry.
Hello?
They don't get like I did with that guy. I lost my patience with that. Oh, man. I lost my patience with that, but sorry, it's just girls didn't dress like this when I was in school here. They don't get like that. They're much calmer. And if someone like this guy showed to be very irrational with what he was doing, like he was trying to say that I said something I'd never said, he would have been hung up on a while ago.
But why would they hang up on it?
Because
If they can't invalidate his beliefs.
no, but they would have.
Oh.
They would have by then. They would have gotten to the point where I did. And see, I can't put him on mute to get to a certain point and be like, hey, you know, you said this, I never said this, don't put words in my mouth. You're talking about this specific point. He was jumping around from here to here to here, saying this and that. And when he didn't like I was going, he would jump to someplace else. And that was his stick. That was what he was doing. That's why he would put on mute and pause, like any reasonable person should. It's like, okay, you can't go on to another point until we address this. He just bounced all around. And so, yeah, he would have been hung up on if he didn't curtail to the logical format of the conversation, which is, unfortunately, since I can't do that, I have to just show him my lack of patience.
So where do your morals come from?
Morality is evolved over time. Our morality as human species evolves over time. We want to live as long as we want, with as less pain as possible, and freedom. So we extend these rights to others in order to live in a society. Religion has from a long time trying to take credit for morality when really it had nothing to do with it.
Okay. But okay, so then let me ask you this. So if I were to kill everybody in this plaza right now, what's the consequence?
You would die, and get the death penalty or prison.
No.
Plus all the people would be dead,
Yeah,
and you would be going against you want to live as long as possible carefree, and you need to send this right to other people. You would be going against that. You would be in danger. They're trying to do the same thing. They want to live as long as possible, freedom and carefree. So they extend those rights to other people as well. But you'd be violating that.
But what's other than me dying?
Yeah.
If I'm not afraid of death.
Okay.
So if let's say I'm not afraid of death.
Okay.
And I'm willing to give all that up to take as many people out as possible.
Right. Well, then I would say you'd have to be a psychopath. An ability to connect with other people, have empathy. You would have issues.
What's up, Julia? Okay. But then what's the long-term ramifications?
All these people would be dead. And that'd be bad.
But then they're dead.
Right.
Then their time ends. That's it.
Okay. Right.
I don't get punished for that.
Well, you've already been punished for it. You're dead.
That just means my pain and suffering ends.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
How is that a punishment?
Because you wouldn't be alive to do it again.
All those people are still dead.
That's true.
I see my punishment.
That you've already been punished. You've already been punished.
Well, I do have to get to class.
All right.
It was good talking to you.
Nice to meet you.